We are going to take a look at 5 minutes of a 12-minute student loan documentary. It aired in 2016 by France 24 English. It is titled Universities Unaffordable for All: The Vicious Cycle of Student Debt in the United States. A link to the original video, again, which is 12 minutes long, will be provided in the description box.
College in the United States. A dream for the less well-off. A rite of passage for America's middle-class and upper-class kids. For millions of Americans, though, the dream has turned into a financial nightmare. While salaries stagnate, the price of a college degree is going up steadily, as are the loans to pay for it all. New recruits are needed, and it's the students themselves who sell the product on campus to the prospective buyer.
Something I'd like to mention is on the first floor we have Footnotes Cafe. So these are a couple of the cafes we have. There's actually a full functioning Starbucks in there. So if you need a quick pick-me-up, you can always go in there. Something else I'd like to mention is on the second floor, if you forget your laptop, forget your charger, you don't have to walk all the way back.
Part of these tours is really to get people excited about coming here. What you most likely will not mention is the cost of it.
All right, let's stop here for a second. I have discussed with you many times on this channel. One of the things that colleges do is they don't talk to you about the students that are now working 2.5, even 3 jobs and trying to pay off their student loan debt. Instead, they're going to talk to you about the rock climbing walls. They're going to talk to you about the serene places on campus, the beautiful oak tree with, I don't know, the gym is right next door to it. You got a lap pool. And I have shown you videos on this channel. I will try to remember to link, a video or two about colleges spending more money on advertising the luxury resort style versus the cost of the tuition. In other words, for many colleges, and understandably so, they don't want you to think about the tuition. Because if I say to you, okay, so let's just pick an average school. You want to go to this school, it's going to cost you $25,000 a year. Remember, though, you got to multiply that by, for most people, at least 4 times, some even 5. That's not a selling point. But what is a selling point is what you've just heard the announcer say. And that is, they talk about, Footnotes Cafe. Remember, this is just an example of one school, one USA campus. Here's Footnotes Cafe. You lose your charger, don't worry, we provide it. It's those little fun things that make college seem so fun. That's what they focus on. They don't want to sit and tell you that, hey, you know what? If your parents take out a Parent Plus loan, it might be that your parents can't retire. And if they can retire, perhaps it'll be when they're 75, 80 years old, if medical issues don't force them to retire first, and then they simply live in poverty. Or parents make you feel so guilty that you've now got your career and stuff, and your parents sacrifice it all for you, and you have some sort of conscience, but you're like, I want to start living my adult life. I don't want to pay my parent back for student loan debt. And on this channel, I'm a big advocate of parents not taking out debt that they cannot afford. And students really, really need to have an honest conversation with a parent. And if they're not qualified, find someone who's qualified that does not have an investment in your going to a particular school. They don't have an ego investment. They don't have a financial investment. In other words, you could even talk to someone like me. That's the type of person I'm talking about. No interest in whether you attend that school or not, but definitely have an interest in whether or not you're getting yourself into unaffordable debt. So yes, students selling to students, great. But what are they selling you? The luxury features of it. This girl is Nina. She is the main character, so to speak, on this show. Nina has a 6-figure student loan debt for a Persian studies degree.
A lot of these people are probably in state. They are not going to consider the cost of coming here and spending the money on books. I mean, I've spent upwards of $1,000 on textbooks. It's just not going to even register to them how much money they're going to be spending ultimately.
A few months after the end of her academic career, Nina denounces a system of which she says she's a victim. The diploma was supposed to open the gilded doors to a career that hasn't materialized. The best 4 years of this young American life may have happened in an idyllic setting, but they did not come cheap.
I've spent over $129,000 on my tuition, not including the textbooks, not including the time, not including the energy, not including the jobs that I had to take. And I don't know if I do it all over again. It's a lot of money. I love my university, but I can't afford it.
It's interesting to say, I don't know if I would do it over again. Well, I can tell you from personal experience, having gone through spending too much credit cards and having a bankruptcy on that, buying too much car, having a bankruptcy on that. I wouldn't do those over again. Having too much student loan debt. Can't go bankrupt on student loan debt, not allowed. And by the grace of God, it was forgiven after 16 years of teaching on the PSLF program, public service loan forgiveness. So when someone says, I don't know if I would do that again, really, you didn't learn it the first time. It's okay to say, man, I would never do that again. And I'm going to teach everybody else not to do it either.
For many, student debt begins here. If the parents can't pay for their education, a loan will be the next step, always with the added interest payments.
It's a daunting investment, but you can guarantee that it's a good one.
I think so. I absolutely think that it's an excellent investment.
And back to my question, how do you measure that?
You're going to have to help me with that one. Because I'm not sure how the institution as a whole, I know how admission sells it, which is probably very different than how
The press minder who sits in on this interview does not have the answer either.
Okay, so the press minder, let's stop for a minute and talk about North Korea. And we like to say that North Korea has press minders and minders everywhere. For those who may not know, a minder is basically someone who's there to make sure you're saying the right words with the right tone, that you are being convincing to the camera that whatever it is they're interviewing you about is not really happening. Now, I want you to think about it. The nice financial aid office right here. This is the University of North Carolina, Asheville, is what it says in the background for those who may not be looking at the screen. So the interviewer asks, basically, is this a good return on your money, so to speak? And she goes, I think so. I don't know about you. If I'm going to spend $100,000 or 50,000, heck, 25,000, you better give me more than I think so. So is the Toyota Corolla a decent car? I think so. And then I need to look at somebody else and go, is the Toyota Corolla a good car? And then we both conclude that we really have no answer if the Toyota Corolla is a good car. I drive the Toyota Corolla. It's a wonderful car. And I would tell you, if you want a budget-friendly car, all right, it might not work for somebody, like a big 6'2" guy, football player. It probably ain't going to work for you because it's kind of small. But if you're just, average size and height and all that, first-time car, or you just want a budget car, I think it's absolutely great. I said that I can tell you with more conviction that a Toyota Corolla is a better car than she can tell you with conviction without looking at her freaking reminder to see if the school, what is it again? University of North Carolina, Asheville. If tuition, she may not have been talking directly about that school. I understand that. But if a college tuition and the cost of it in general is a good return, when we have to sit there and say, I think so, you need to be thinking harder than the financial aid office, because no student's going to go into a financial aid office and say, so financial aid office, man, woman, is this a good school? And the parents are sitting right next to the student and you're going, I think it is. I guess it might be. You have to remember something. This is what I was just saying a minute ago. You need to talk to someone that has no financial investment, no emotional investment. Oh, my child is going to name that school. Okay. No financial, no motive in anything about what you're going to school for, but they are qualified to look at the numbers. They are qualified to think realistically. They are qualified to help you background research. What is it really going to cost you? When a school cannot tell you with more conviction whether or not the tuition is worth paying, but I can tell you with absolute conviction, a Toyota Corolla is good, it's worth the money, there's a problem. And that's because we need to actually look at schools in relation to the degree you're getting. What type of degree? Where is that school compared to where you are located? Where do you think you might want to live? Will a degree like that work in the city that you would ideally like to live in? Now, I understand you're young. You may only be 18, 19. Heck, some of you are even 17, entering college, and life plans change. And that's part of the problem with degrees. Life plans change. So you swear today, and we have seen this on video after video, everything from Parent Plus loans, grandma and grandpa taking out loans, the student taking out loans, swearing up and down one side that this debt is absolutely worth it. And then things change. Oh, you meet someone, you want to get married. Oh, you decide you want to live on the other side of the country. You want to go from a big town to a small city to a big town. All of a sudden, the degree that you have doesn't fit the lifestyle that you want anymore. And now you are stuck with this massive debt. Many students are, millions of students are, that they cannot afford to pay back. And how do we know? Because I'm a shining example of someone who borrowed student loan money to do a public service job that I could not ever afford to pay back as a single school teacher. So when she says, I think so, in some ways, we almost have to give her credit for it. She's right. It is an I think so. But remember, on the one side of I think so is a yes and a no. But that depends upon the type of degree you're getting. And also, are you really academically ready for a degree? Not everybody is. Some people should never step foot in college, okay, and simply do a trade. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I want you to think about something with the degrees that people are getting. And remember, this video was 10 years ago, but if I had told you it had just played last month, you'd have no reason to doubt it, okay? Because what's happening 10 years ago is multiplied worse, in my opinion, today.
Gray Barrett. He is the model student the university has chosen to be our guide.
Beautiful place. It's a beautiful place to be. There's lots of great music, lots of great people. It's a great atmosphere and a good place to be a student. We have, a gym, pool, nice library, as you can see, great classrooms, open space, good places to study, to think, to socialize. So that's, it's part of what you pay for, and I think that's a really, really valuable part of what you get.
Gray forgets to mention, though, that he, coincidentally, pays nothing, not a single dollar. He's one of the lucky few winners of the grand prize of full scholarship.
How many times have we heard students say, either crying on TikTok, Dave Ramsey, whatever, I don't regret my degree because the people I met, the environment was just absolutely amazing. Let me make this very clear, young people. The schools spend millions, not thousands, not tens of thousands, millions. It would add up to billions if you add up the schools. I'm just talking about schools in the United States because that's all I'm qualified to discuss. To create an environment where you want to come there. It would not work if they said, well, now the lap pool, it's out, half of the year, with moss and stuff. That's not going to work. And we don't really have anything but few food options because we don't invest in anything. Remember that one school? Again, I will try to remember to link these. Sometimes I'm bad at remembering, okay? Thanks to those of you who remind me in the comments. There's one school and they serve 5-star gourmet meals. Oh, yes, but we forget that we're paying for that on student loan debt. Everything that you get that seems like an amenity, well, it seems like it is. Every amenity that you get, you think hotel prices are bad when your parents go on vacation. It's like, oh my goodness, you want $25 for a bagel and cream cheese delivered to your door? That's peanuts. That's nothing compared to what you will pay for every single amenity on a college campus. So you have this kid here, okay? He's on their full ride scholarship because the people are wonderful. Have you heard about the debt? The atmosphere is great. Oh my goodness, the learning environment, great. Have you heard about the debt? Do they stand? Remember at the beginning of the video, that one lady, she stand up there talking about Footnotes Cafe and how you get charges and stuff. You don't have to run back to your car. I swear to God, you're going to wish you ran back to your car to get your own charger, because the charger you're paying for and all the amenities you're paying for, that last a moment, 4 years. And that's if you don't drop out. That's if you graduate. 5 years if you're unlucky and getting even more debt. All of that stuff on your student loan bill is being paid for over and over and over again. So when people sit there and they say things like, oh my goodness, I've been looking at my bill and it never goes down. I've already paid the equivalent of the bill just in interest. Remember that every single time you get student loan money and you spend it on a college that seems to be giving you a back rub, a massage on your feet, and it just feels so wonderful to be there. And sometimes, and we're not going to get into it because I just don't feel like it, and it's not relevant to this video, but let me say, some colleges, they spend more money on the luxuries of college to get your money than they actually spend on the academics. And so when you wind up getting out of college, you all of a sudden realize, oh my goodness, that college didn't give me anything that I could use in the actual workforce. So here we have, is his name Garrett? I can't remember his name, showing you and telling you how wonderful the college is. Well, of course, he's that 1/2 of 1% that got it for free.
All right, so this is the Laurel Forum. It's a nice area for studying. We have presentations, talks here.
Those not looking at the screen, we are in a nice, comfy room at the college with a fireplace. Now, let me tell you something, fam. For those of you young people that want to attend schools where they have a fireplace and this nice decorative room, remember this: you're practicing for when you become an adult, live in your own place, and you can't afford your electric bill, and you're going to have to run it by a space heater because all your money is going to student loan debt. Now, I'm being facetious, okay? I've had my own student loan debt. And if you're new to this channel, I use humor to discuss a lot of serious things. But I'm looking at here, who would like this room, of course, is nicer than any place I've ever lived in. It's got a nice, warm, crackly fireplace. I'm going to tell you something. Here's what I'd rather see you do. I would rather see you not go to a school with a warm, crackly fireplace. If you want a warm, crackly fireplace, just go visit one of your local hotels and go into the lobby area. I can pretty much guarantee you they're going to make it look just as nice as a college campus, if not nicer. Sit there, have a beverage, maybe at the bar, if you are of legal drinking age, okay? And enjoy that environment. There you go. You got it for the price of a cocktail.
Weekly basis. It's got a nice fireplace you can sit by when the weather is nice and cold like this. We do yoga sessions in here. We screen debates. We have informal talks by professors, students.
Again, if you want a yoga session, I'd like you to go join a local gym, maybe even some free community things. You can get your stretch, you can get your downward dog going on and all of that stuff, okay? And you don't walk out with a debt. Please remember, everything that they market to you in these campuses, okay, it's designed, it's a business. It's a business. How many times can I say it? It's not about, oh my goodness, I'm going here because it's my generational family history. If your generational family history cannot afford the school, then you should not go there. Just because mom and pop went there in the 80s and could afford it doesn't mean you can afford it.
Several small jobs keep Nina afloat for now.
Okay, we're back to Nina, the young lady who has a degree in Persian studies. Again, the full video will be linked inside the description box. So we're back at Nina.
The current one pays $12 an hour. That's not enough to pay back $1,200 a month in student loans.
Let's pause. This is why I'm running this at the prime time hour. Even if only a few people watch it. Yeah. $1,200 a month. She's 26 years old. Now, from what I heard, and this is unofficial, I heard that she actually left the country to go work abroad. I guarantee you 110% this student loan bill is not paid off. So she's living at home with her mother. And as we go through this video, I want you to see the conditions that they are living in.
Not the only one in debt in this household. Her mother, too, is still weighed down by student debt. So much so that this house literally crumbled under the weight of their debt. Together, they owe $150,000.
So when I first saw the crack, I could have had someone out here to tell me exactly what was wrong, and we probably could have fixed it if...
There you go. That is the ceiling that has completely fallen down in one of the rooms. The is it insulation and stuff is all over the floor. We are down to, what is it? The bare knobs. I'm talking the drywall, the ceiling, everything came down. You can see the wooden plank boards. Now, she alone has a $1,200 a month student loan debt, not counting her mom's debt.
Or even just simply bought a better house if it weren't for the loans. And it's a constant struggle.
Nina's mother says state governments prefer to see education as a commodity rather than as a public service.
Take a look at this room that they're living in. It has 2 chairs. Well, it looks like maybe a recliner, okay, and a chair. 1 recliner, 1 chair. Has a basic, probably looking at about a 40-inch TV and a basic, build it yourself TV frame stand from Walmart, one rug. It looks like one small table, one small footstool. That's the whole entire living room. This is the reality of when a young person is not led correctly by another person, in this case, her mother. And both of them are living in poverty. How much do I blame the mother? How much do I blame the student? I blame 60% the mother, 40% the student. The mother clearly had her own student loan debt, and the mother's a state employee. So the mother hopefully can get hers forgiven, maybe, possibly. The daughter appears cannot. This is what student loan poverty, generational student loan poverty looks like. I mean, I'm looking at this room. There is not a picture on the wall. They have a coat rack or whatever hanging over the door. And in the other room or rooms, the ceiling has fallen down, and they have a cat.
For her, this is a calculated political policy which has led to the privatization and rising cost of universities in the United States.
Notice, I got another notice.
How does that happen? It's not like Maryland is all of a sudden unable to meet those accommodations or not wanting to provide services to students for the long haul. This is the future. These kids are the future for the state. It's because we should have tax breaks for the wealthy. And that's what our governor did. So yeah, it's horribly unfair. It hurts students from middle income and low income the most.
We need to stop basing our budget on, well, the rich people get this and they get all the breaks. Yes, they do. We know this. Okay. For the 99%ers, we know. And until laws change, until people vote differently, whatever, it's not going to matter. So when the mother sits and says, well, Maryland, she's the future of the state. The state don't care. Let us get this straight. The state does not care. You can have me take out all the debt in the world to become a scholar. And in this case, again, I think the degree of Persian studies is just horrendous. Not Persian studies itself, right? The degree of Persian studies. She basically got a foreign language degree. That's what she did. And, you can go into AI and you can type in any reason as to why any degree is good. It'll spit out a bunch of stuff. Oh, well, you become an international this and translator for that, yada, yada. For most of us, that's not going to be the reality. So instead of going to a community college like her mother should have directed to, her mother should have said, look, honey, we are not wealthy. And I'm already dealing with I think it was $25,000, $30,000 in student loan debt, and I haven't been able to get it paid off. The last thing I want to see you do, darling, is get into $125,000 worth of debt yourself. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have you go to a community college. Okay. I want you to get some sort of basic foundation and skill. And perhaps even the job you do will not even require 2 years at a state school. See, but what happens is mom likes to sit and blame, say, well, the rich people get this and she's the future of Maryland. It is hard to want to admit it. We ain't rich, most of us, and the state doesn't care that your child is the future of the state. It doesn't care. Student loan is a business first and foremost. And until we understand that it is a business, kids are just going to keep falling into that student loan debt trap. Their parents are going to help them get into it. And then 10 years later, we're going to look at a video like this and say, gee, absolutely nothing has changed. In fact, it's gotten worse.